All right, good morning, everyone. Gary Ryan here for the Fed League Flash, and today we're going to be taking a look at some Fed history, celebrating some of the premier players that have been in the league, and that kind of got me thinking of a hypothetical. If I were able to formulate a, getting clear here, if I could formulate a Hall of Fame for the Fed. Um, got my first couple of classes here, and we'll go in a little bit more. But first, I want to talk a little bit about a correction I got to make from yesterday's video. We were talking about why goalies don't last that long, and I am in the process of learning a lot more about Fed history. Love digging into things, and I honestly am not real familiar with a lot of the Fed history from the first 6, 7, 8 seasons. So, I made a lot of discoveries. So, Nick Nider is not the standard for wins with the FPHL. And we're going to talk about one of the goalies that one upped him. All right. So, my first draft class, I'm just going to go in alphabetical order by last name. The people that I would choose for the first class would have our first 6. And some of these names you may be familiar with. You may know these players. Some of them, not so much. And again, I had to do a lot of digging and research. It's hard to find information on old FHL records. There's not a whole lot out there in the interwebs. So, that's one of the things I enjoyed doing. So, yeah, that was a nice way of spending a lot of time yesterday, just kind of digging through, learning more about these players and their accomplishments and why they should be Hall of Fame candidates. All right, so first, Justin Browson. Just finished playing a couple years ago. Here's a guy who ranks 4th in goals all time with 203. He's only one of 4 players that has 200 goals scored. He ranks 6th all time in the Fed with 365 points. He's the leader with games played, goals, and points for the Danville Dashers. Played for 8 years. Model of consistency offensively, and so Justin Browson, I believe, is the first name to be added to our list of inductees. All right, next, going with Tyler Jurich. And now some of you may be going, oh, wait a minute, isn't he an active player? He's a head coach. He's coaching this year for the Elmira River Sharks. I'm surprised a lot of people didn't realize that. Yeah, he's not playing anymore. He's a head coach and GM. Said it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up. So Jurich, of course, is the all-time leader in goals scored, past Ahmed Mafuz late last year. 299 goals scored. Averaged 0.95 goals per game in his career. Second all-time in points with 583. 4 times he scored 50 goals or more in a season. Nobody else has done that. So Jurich, I think, obviously would be a worthy inclusion. All right, next we go to Trevor Karasevich, who didn't have a long playing career. He only has 89 games played to his credit, but he has a couple of very important records. First of all, he is the only player in Fed history to tally over 100 assists in a season, 102 during the 3rd year of the Fed. Amazing accomplishment. 102 assists in, 59 games. So that was just incredible. Also, he has 4 championships to his name. He's the only person to have lifted the Commissioner's Cup 4 times. All right. He had two as a player, one with New Jersey, the New Jersey Outlaws, then one with the Dayton Demons. That year, he was a player coach. So he also gets credit as having three as a coach, the 1 year player and coach for Dayton. Also, as a coach, he earned championships with the Port Huron Prowlers and the Watertown Wolves. So, again, only won the Lift That Cup 4 times. Tremendous, tremendous accomplishment. So that's why Trevor Karasiewicz, in my mind, should be for the inclusion on the list. Then we have the aforementioned Ahmed Mahfouz, who for the longest time held the goal scoring record, still holds the points record, 295 goals, 437 games played, that's second all time, 590 assists, top of the list, 885 points, top of the list. He's one of only 4 players to have at least 100 points to his credit to average more than 2 points per game. And only 4 ever did that. And 4 times he led the league in scoring. So tremendous, tremendous player. And Mahfouz is missed. So anyway, then we have our first defensiveman, Brian Marks, who I learned a lot about yesterday. I really wasn't that familiar with him. He played 8 years, 304 games in the Fed. The first real defensive standout, I think. Played for the Thousand Island Privateers, the Brooklyn Aviators, Watertown Wolves, the Dayton Demons, and Demolition. Of course, those were 2 different teams. 186 points, which is 39th all-time on the list. He is the highest-ranked retired defenseman. Had a couple seasons where he averaged more than a point per game. So, he was the first player to kind of exhibit those Brian Leach type tendencies. But we're not talking about Brian Leach, we're talking about Brian Marks. So that's the first defenseman that I would put in the Fed Hall of Fame. And then the goalie, Nick Neidert. Okay, even though I found out his records were eclipsed as far as games played and also wins, Neidert still, I think, remains kind of a benchmark for goalies in the Fed. Again, here's a guy who stuck it out for 12 years. And he also had time in the SPHL as well. 8 teams altogether. He played for all 3 different Danbury teams, the Whalers, the Titans, and the Hat Tricks. And 65 wins earned, which is 4th all-time. Yeah, 4th. We're going to talk more about goalies tomorrow, video tomorrow. But nonetheless, Neidert, great mentor to a lot of young goaltenders coming up. He's obviously now a very good coach. He's coaching in the SPHL with the Macon Mayhem. So Neidert, I still say, even though his numbers weren't the best of any goalie ever, with his longevity and his dedication to the game, both on and off the ice, I think he belongs on the list. So there's our first class. Now, the second class, I'm calling it a second class because these players, 4 of them, are still active. But you got to pencil them in right off the bat. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the goaltender with the wins and the games played record. And that is Matt Anthony. Didn't know about him until I did some digging. And then, boy, when I did the digging, I found out what an amazing, amazing player. All right, Matt Anthony played for the Thousand Island Privateers and the Danville Dashers. Played 5 years, seasons 2 through 6 in the FPHL's history, and 103 wins. That is the standard for a goaltender in the Fed. Also, games played, 206 games played, over 1,100 minutes played. So this phenomenal career. He ended up with a career goals against of 3.59 and a 901 save percentage. So Matt Anthony is my next goalie that I'm including in the Hall of Fame. Okay, then we go to Matt Graham, who is currently still playing with the Port Huron Prowlers. He's a coach, he's a GM, he's a player, he's everything. So Matt Graham has been one of these players that has just been a wonderful representative of the league and a great ambassador for the league. 345 games played, 295 assists currently, which is second. He's going to become the second player to reach 300 assists. 426 points all told. That's fourth all-time right now. He's in his ninth year, his seventh year with Port Huron, and 74 points to go to 500. Not sure if he'll make it or not, but it's possible. Matt Graham is still a very, very good player. Dalton Jay, his teammate, he belongs on the list. Third all-time in goals, currently with 225, 336 games played. Third all-time right now in points with 471. Yeah, he's going to crack the 500 barrier. He's got 29 points to go. He's going to be the first player to pass 500. I think he gets there before Matt Graham does. And 75 goals to go to 300. If he played a full 2 years, he could get that. He could technically pass Tyler Jurich, become the first 300 goal scorer in league history. All right, then we have Mo Levac. Here's a guy who's been around since first year. Played last year with Elmira, of course. 347 games played, 290 assists, which currently stands as third all-time. He's probably going to be passed by Kyle Powell in the first month of the season. 420 points, which is fifth all-time. He was the last active player to have played in the inaugural FPHL season, playing through last year. So, and a wonderful mentor to younger players, great face-off guy. I think you include him in the second class for the FPHL Hall of Fame, the hypothetical. All right, then we have Joe Pace. Man, this guy's like a non-rip-off version of P.T. Barnum. He is the ultimate showman. He's been around forever. Great representative for the league. 502 games played, which is first all time, and he's continuing to build on that number. Planning on playing this next year for the Seawolves. 1,716 penalty minutes all time. That is by far and away number one. There's only 3 players that have over 1,000 in penalty minutes. So great on-ice present, head coach, GM, promoter, media guy, you name it. Joe Pace has done it all. Final person on the list is Kyle Powell. And yeah, he's still playing, getting ready for another season with the Baton Rouge Zydeco. But here's a guy, 289 assists, which currently ranks fourth all-time, but he's averaged 0.99 assists per game over his career. He's 340 points, is seventh all-time. There's no other defenseman even close to him in that category. 4 times Defensiveman of the Year in the Fed. You can't ignore that. Kyle Powell is definitely earmarked for, if there's a Hall of Fame, he's going in. So there you go. There's your list. My first 2 classes entering in the imaginary Hall of Fame for the Fed. Let me know what you think. Who do you think should be included in the Hall of Fame? Make a comment down below. Also, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Tomorrow, tune in. We're going to be talking about the top 8 goaltenders all time in Fed history. I'm Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. Have a great day.